The AV-8B Harrier was never meant to be ordinary. It could take off from nowhere, hover, land in places no plane was supposed to land. It could strike, disappear, return again. It flew real combat missions. It carried real ordnance. It saved lives in ways no other plane could. And yet, the United States Air Force never wanted it. Not because it failed, not because it was flawed, but because it belonged to a world the Air Force never inhabited. The Harrier was made to move forward, close to the front, close to the ground, close enough to matter. It could appear from nothing, strike, disappear again. And the Marines loved it. They built Doctrine around it. They embraced its quirks. They accepted its demands. Because in their world, every meter forward mattered. Every second counted. Every sortie could change the course of a battle. The Air Force, however, existed in a different universe. The Air Force was built around distance, control, infrastructure. Runways were not a vulnerability. They were sacred. If a runway was damaged, it would be repaired. If threatened, it would be defended. Air superiority was assumed. Maintenance was centralized. Logistics were deep and unyielding. Planes did not have to adapt. Planes did not have to survive on their own. They just had to reach farther, carry more, persist longer. The Harrier could do none of that efficiently. It could lift vertically, yes. It could land almost anywhere, yes, but at a cost. Fuel burned faster, payloads were smaller, maintenance was relentless. It demanded care, preparation, patience, and the Air Force did not reward that kind of patience. Yet, in another world, the Harrier was perfect. The Marines did not measure success in the same way. They valued proximity. They valued mobility. They valued adaptability above all else. Harriers took off from rough strips, from amphibious assault ships, from roads converted into airfields. They flew with ground troops, protected them, enabled them. Every movement forward was precious. Every mission mattered. Every flight counted. The Harrier thrived in that world, and combat proved it. The Gulf War, Iraq, Afghanistan. Harriers hovered over desert battlefields. They moved with troops. They struck where other aircraft could not reach. And yet, The Air Force watched. It did not adopt the Harrier. Its doctrine had no place for a plane like this. Its priorities were different. The story is not one of failure. It is a story of fit, alignment, doctrine. A plane, no matter how remarkable, is only as valuable as the world it inhabits. The Marines found that world. The Air Force did not. The Harrier was brilliant, but it belonged to a different mission. A mission measured in proximity, not reach, measured in adaptability, not payload, measured in survival, not dominance. There is irony in this.
The same aircraft could be a lifeline for one service, a mismatch for another. The Air Force had other priorities: long-range reach, persistent presence, scale. The Harrier demanded compromise. The Air Force demanded efficiency, and Doctrine won. It is worth pausing here to consider the human element. Pilots trained on the Harrier learned to respect it, to fear it, to master it in ways manuals could never teach. Hovering over a desert, landing on a tiny strip, watching for the telltale heat of a ground threat. Each flight demanded skill, concentration, courage. And yet, those same skills were irrelevant in the Air Force's worldview. There, the expectation was power projected from safety, from established bases, from overwhelming support. The Harrier's risks were not incentives, they were liabilities. The irony extends to technology itself. The Harrier represented innovation, ingenuity, a solution to a very real problem. But the Air Force did not have that problem. It did not need vertical lift. It did not need dispersed operations. It did not need to operate from improvised locations. It already had long-range bombers, precision strike aircraft, supersonic fighters. Why fix what was not broken? And yet, the Harrier's story continues. It is not defined by rejection, nor by limits, nor by doctrine. It is defined by context, by understanding where it could shine, by knowing where it could not. The Marines flew it forward. They operated it in places no other aircraft could. They tested its limits. They learned its weaknesses. They exploited its strengths. The Air Force never had to. This is a lesson in alignment. Tools are only as powerful as the missions they serve. Even brilliance can be wasted if it does not match purpose. The Harrier succeeded brilliantly for one service, ignored by another, and it thrived quietly in the hands of those who needed it most.
the AV-8B Harrier remains one of the most extraordinary aircraft ever flown. It hovered, it struck, it survived where others could not. Its story is a quiet one, a story about fit, a story about priorities, a story about why even the most unique tools can fail to find a home, not because they cannot perform, but because they are unmatched to the world around them. The Harrier was not a failure. It was simply in the wrong world.